asked Esa Tikkanen of the Edmonton Oilers who he thought would win the Vezina Trophy. And Esa said, let me tell you, the Vezina Trophy, the top goalie, who should win the top goalie? I think it would be Joe Mansbreak. And Pat said, what the fuck did he say? And we went, exactly the point, Pat. What do you think he said? He said, I thought he said Joe Mansbreak. And we said, Pat, he just voted for John Van Beesbrook. And Pat was on the floor for about 30 seconds, or close to a minute, until we played him Esa Tikkanen's pick for the Coach of the Year, the Jack Adams Award. Who do you think should win the Jack Adams Award? The Coach of the best Coach of the Year, Coach of the Year, the Jack Adams. I picked Galen Gamble. And Pat said, what the hell did he say? And he said, what? Galen Gamble. And Pat looked at us and said, who did he vote for? We said, Colin Campbell. And ever since that day, anytime we were fortunate to be in Pat's company or speaking to Pat via phone or email, Bob would always begin the conversation by saying, hey, Mansbreak. And Pat would laugh all over again as hard as he did the first time to Esa Tikkanen's 2 picks for Vezina Trophy and Coach of the Year, Galen Gamble. And the very quick kicker to the story is that 6 weeks before Pat actually died, somebody in Montreal decided they were going to kill him off early. So the word spread like wildfire. In fact, the column that I wrote about Pat, I was writing it that morning because there'd been a wire service report saying that he was in poor health, he was going back to Quebec and didn't know if he'd last the weekend. So I wanted to be prepared and I wanted to put something out there if possible before Pat died actually, so I could tell him what I thought of him, what a lot of other people thought of him. And so I'm writing the column and the word came across that Pat had died. There were people in Montreal were reporting it, it was picked up on Twitter, it went completely viral. So I took a few minutes and composed myself because it was obviously a very sad occasion, and I continued to write and about an hour went by. And I thought, it's kind of weird, the Devils, the NHL, nobody else has put out a release yet. So I phoned Pat's cousin Robin and said, Robin, I don't know how to ask you this, but people in Montreal are reporting that Pat's died. Is he dead? And Robin, true to form, said, well, I hope not, because he just went to the grocery store. So I kind of had an inkling at that point there might be something askew. The kicker of that story later is that Robin said when he phoned Pat to see if he was in the grocery store, he asked him if he was in the bread or the dead aisle. That's Robin and that's Pat. And about 10 minutes after that, my phone rang, and I looked up and it said, Pat Burns on my call display. And I picked up the phone, and all he said to me was, Mansbreak, those fuckers in Montreal are trying to kill me again. Tell them I'm not dead yet. And it was one of the best calls I ever took, and obviously 6 weeks passed from the time that they thought he was dead to the time that he actually died. And that's about par for the course with Pat.